Dr. Julie Gatza joining us, and she's with us today here on our big broadcast. So, Dr. Julie, talk to us about the latest project here, my friend. Tell me all about it.
Well, what we have is it's a herb called Colorex, and it actually kills the candida or the yeast overgrowth in your gut, which is very common with people who have been eating bad, under stress, have even taken one course of antibiotics, and it creates a whole host of symptoms that people aren't aware that it's actually just a yeast growing in them that's craving sugar that causes this.
We have got Dr. Julie Gatza with us today. So what are the health ramifications for someone who eats multiple pints of ice cream on a weekly basis? Break it down for us, Dr. Julie.
The basic thing is dairy is one very hard for us to break down because we don't make an enzyme called lactase. So we eat a bunch of dairy, and it sort of sits in our digestive tract. On top of it, you're throwing that with a bunch of sugar. You're usually eating it late, and it's pretty much a scene that the body says, wow, we just don't break this down. So instead of getting nutrition from it, it's actually taking nutrients from your body to actually break this down. On top of it, you can have all sorts of symptoms that go along with a yeast overgrowth that people really spend a lot of money, time, and effort trying to handle, and it's not a terribly simple thing to handle until we've come across this product called Colorex that actually handles it in 30 days.
It is Dr. Julie Gatza. She's with us today live here on the telephone talking a little bit about a great topic today. When we break down and binge on ice cream, does that indicate we have basically have low willpower, or is there something else going on, Dr. Julie Gatza?
It really is something else is going on. We all want to blame it on no willpower, too old, too stressed. But what happens is you have this live organism living in your digestive tract that should be in good balance between the yeast and the bacteria. When you've wiped out bacteria and it's no longer in balance, these yeasts need sugar to actually live. So you've got a constant craving for sugars and carbohydrates and ice cream and sweets and all these different things that's how they're going to do to actually survive.
Dr. Julie Gatza with us today. She joins us live here on our big broadcast, coast to coast, border to border. Check out Dr. Julie Gatza. Does what we eat during the day influence the cravings we get at night, Dr. Julie?
Absolutely. And one of the major things that happens with people is they're lacking protein, especially protein in the morning. So I've seen time after time that when you're not eating enough good protein in the morning, talking eggs or meat or bacon or whatever it may be, you actually crave more at night, and it's hard to curb until you put in your 3 meals a day and protein, especially in the morning.
We have got Dr. Julie Gatza with us today. She joins us live here in our broadcast, coast to coast, border to border, on iHeartRadio. Also AM/FM, 247.com. You say that dehydration is often interpreted as hunger. Tell us more about this, Dr. Julie.
Well, by the time that you're actually thirsty, you're already dehydrated. So a lot of people say, oh, I just don't get thirsty, or boy, once I'm thirsty, it's over. Dehydration has a lot to do with how you actually keep the system working properly in digestion. You can have achy joints when you're dehydrated, the thirst itself, and it's just, you can't really substitute anything for water. Water is the thing. So there's no way to spin it where your juices and your coffee and your teas and your soda pops are actually the way to hydrate you. You need it in the form of water.
It is Dr. Julie Gatza. She's with us today here on our big broadcast here on iHeartRadio and also AM/FM 247.com. Tune in, iTunes, and of course, TalkShoe.com. Find us on Spotify as well, and Dr. Julie Gatza with us today here on our big broadcast. So you recommend eating fruits to control cravings. What are some of the fruits and why, Dr. Julie?
There's so many melons and peaches and things that are in season. So I always say eat the things that are in season because those are going to be the most nutritious, the healthiest, probably grown here. And when you start to put some fruit in, it's a lot easier to actually break down the natural fruit sugars rather than other types of cane sugars and things like that. So, one of the things that happens when this yeast gets imbalanced is you can have things like, brain fog, and you can have, yeast infections and toenail fungus and itchy skin and things that you're just, kind of driving yourself crazy to handle. And the problem being is there isn't a really simple handling until you actually fix what's going on at the gut. And that's why the Colorex is so beautiful, because you take one pill for 30 days and pretty much you've handled the seam.
We have got a great guest of the study, Dr. Julie Gatza, with us today. She joins us live here in our big broadcast. So, are the new low-calorie, non-dairy ice creams okay to eat regularly? Break it down for us. You're the expert, Dr. Julie Gatza. Tell us all about it.
You're better off if you're going to do something like that, if you have it made with a different type of source, with coconut milk or soy milk or rice milk. You can do things like that. You can also take a frozen piece of fruit, banana, and put it in a blender with some of these milks I just mentioned, and you've got a sweet treat that's more fruit than any type of sugar. If you need to put a little honey in it, great. But it's 3 ingredients that your body actually recognizes and breaks down as compared to what's on the side of the carton of the rest of the stuff.
We have got Dr. Julie Gatza with us today. She joins us live. You say eliminating candida overgrowth is the most important factor in controlling sugar cravings. You recommend a herbal antifungal extract called Coralex. How is this extract used, and how long does it take to clear up the candida, Dr. Julie?
So it's a herb from New Zealand, and it's indigenous only to there. So there's been tribes of people for thousands of years that have used this for many different ways of healing. And I tell you, I've been frustrated as heck as a doctor over the years to try to handle anyone with a yeast overgrowth or candida. And it's really, they come in with suitcases full of different types of remedies and over the counter and medically prescribed things. Just giving one Colorex from this Coropito plant that grows in New Zealand for 30 days, one a day, it pretty much handles the seam. So chronic urinary tract infections, brain fog, fatigue, hormonal imbalances, and all these different things. It's so easy now to handle. And any time that you've been on antibiotics, it wipes out your good bacteria, so yeast overgrows. And when that's occurring, you're going to have this situation happening at some level or another.
We've got Dr. Julie Gatza with us today. Before we let you go, Dr. Julie, how do we find you online, get your stuff, everything else, Dr. Julie?
You can go to naturesources.com, and you can read all about the Colorex. They have different forms of that, from different washes and things for the toes and nails.